At the end of the day, it's really, it's pretty simple. The Lord's calling and I must go, and I'm just trying to be generous and saying yes. He's invited me to this life, and so far it seems to be a good fit, and we'll just keep chugging along and keep trying to keep saying yes day by day. Yeah, I always like to, when people ask me this, I usually start off by explaining I grew up in a Dominican parish, so those order of preachers founded by St. Dominic back in California, or at least not the order, but my parish back in California where I grew up. And they're always just good models of preaching, excellent preachers. They're a lot of fun, joyful priests, but I never felt called to be a Dominican, so I thought priesthood, check, don't have to worry about that anymore. So it wasn't until college, when I went to Helena, Montana, attended Carroll College and was playing football and going to school there, that I met some of the local diocesan priests, one being my chaplain, Father Mark Lenneman, who was also my former vocations director, and then Father Christopher Lebsock, who is my current vocations director. So those men were the first ones to really open me up to the idea of being a diocesan priest, and really pressing the question of priesthood in general. Yeah. In particular for diocesan priesthood, obviously different than religious, where you don't have a community that's built in around you. I was just amazed that diocesan priesthood wasn't just a lonely life. They didn't seem to be lonely men. They're active at the campus. They're hanging out with us, going to our sporting events. Father Mark Lenneman could cook us all in basketball, one-on-one. And Father Lebsock, he could outlift me for sure. So it was pretty crazy stuff. But just stuff like that. It was like just sharing life with us, and just seeing that diocesan priesthood could be a really actually like joyful life. And that's what really attracted me towards the idea of, maybe the Lord's calling me to this life as well. Yeah, outside of class, well, for one, we have the Rector's Bowl every fall. So for me, that's a real joy. I get to put my cleats back on again. Slightly different setting, not full contact, but 7-on-7 football at the University of St. Thomas football stadium against that seminary up north, aka SJV. Our brothers over there. It's a lot of fun, and it's a D1 school, D1 field, therefore D1 seminary athlete. So I get to do that. Play basketball too. I just got a bike this summer, so I've been hitting the road and getting the legs moving that way, and do some disc golf. A lot of stuff outdoors if I can. It's a lot of fun, especially this time of year when it's so nice out. Yeah. So first of all, just being back in Montana, it's always a joy. Seeing the mountains in the background just reminds me of, there's St. John of the Cross. He talks about the way of Nada and going up the mountain of the Lord. And so the mountains are always a good reminder of, that there's something, there are things that are greater than I am. They're a very significant, easy to see reminder of God's creation and the beauty that he's made for us to enjoy. I did go backpacking with my dad and my brother and his friend this summer. We went fishing up at an alpine lake after a 4.5 mile hike in, the hike killed me, but the fishing was excellent. Fish were just jumping all day. You would have loved it, Covey. It was awesome. Just did some fly fishing with them, caught a lot of fish. But also in my apostolate, one thing that was new and special this summer was going to the state prison. I'd never been inside a prison before, and so a little intimidating driving up for the first time. But man, the guys on the inside, if they were just, if they weren't wearing their suits, they'd just be your favorite parishioners. They love Jesus. They're excited to be at Mass. They love our Lord, and they're trying to be saints. So it was awesome. Yeah, I think in particular, my first visit was the Wednesday after Corpus Christi. At the prison there, at the moment, they're only allowed to go to Mass every other week, and it's not on Sundays. So we celebrated Corpus Christi on a Wednesday in the prison, and there are 2 guys in this group. At first, you kind of think sometimes, especially looking towards the priesthood, you just get excited about all the, the quantity, like the number of souls that you could potentially impact and help save through your ministry. But to have just these 2 men in there, and to see like the look on their faces as Father is preaching to them, and as he's celebrating the Mass, and they're looking up and seeing our Lord, in the Eucharist, seeing tears in their eyes, it really moved me deeply. And my priesthood, God willing, it'd be totally worth it if it was just for one soul. It was really beautiful. Yeah, and that first one you mentioned, the Schola, I love music, I love singing, I love writing music, and I love the choir here. I'd love to bring that aspect of liturgy and just life in a parish. Really love to bring that back to Montana, back to wherever parish I serve. I'd also love to, I'm working on my Spanish right now. We're starting to get some Latino ministry going in some areas in our diocese, so I'd like to bring that back too. That's something I can work on here. Yeah. So definitely, prison ministry was great. I'd love to do that. Latino ministry, also great. Love to do that. I think just some of the simpler parish priest activities, like I love nursing home visits. That's been a huge grace over my time in seminary, going to different nursing homes and just getting to be with people there and bringing our Lord to them in that way. I really also look forward to, I'd love to do and grow in being able to do some sort of teaching, be able to hand on the faith well, especially to those who are, to the younger Catholics, especially youth group, college. I'd love to be a college chaplain too. But at the end of the day, wherever the Lord calls and whatever He needs of me, I'll do my best and try to do as well. Really, since the first year of seminary, being in the propedeutic year with you, Cubby, that year completely changed my life. That I think it's always a matter of as long as I don't lose sight of the fact that I'm a beloved son in whom the Father is well pleased, that He's loved me. Before I came to seminary, He loves me in seminary. He's going to love me however He ends up leading me in the coming years. As long as I stick with that, that's the fire that keeps it going. That relationship with being with the Father and trying to abide in Him, for sure. Yeah. Well, first of all, my namesake, St. Anthony of Padua, especially growing up, and I still do to this day, I can lose stuff pretty easily. So he's been really helpful for that in particular. But I think also, hopefully, I'm excited to see down the road, asking for his intercession for his amazing preaching. He was known as an excellent preacher for the Franciscans. So there's that. There's him. I've also really grown to love St. Kateri Tekakwitha. And especially back in Montana, we have some reservations back there. I've been able to go to some of the parishes, spend some time out there with the people there, and she's been one of the first saints that I felt like has really reached out in friendship to me, which is a really beautiful thing. And I've asked her for intercession as I've been over there, and she's a great example, especially of virginity. Her parents, they died pretty early in her life, and then her aunt and uncle wanted to marry her off, but she was handed on the faith by her mother, and she had decided that she was going to be just for the Lord, and so she ran away, and she lived her life for the Lord as a virgin all her life, and as a man that's hoping to become a priest one day, and especially looking at celibacy as a way of life down the road. She's a great friend and companion for that. I'd say two that I'm most looking forward to would be confession, and actually in particular probably funerals. Why funerals and confessions? Yeah, so in confession, one, just because I keep realizing more and more how much more merciful God is than I am, and how much I need His mercy, because I'm a sinner just like anybody else. The way that priests have walked with me in the confessional, it's been really beautiful in my life. So I'd love to be able to do that for others as a priest. And then for funerals in particular, I had a younger brother who passed away when I was in 8th grade, and it was a pretty tragic death and pretty tragic moment in my family. But our priest at the parish. He did such a good job of walking with us, and the funeral was actually one of the biggest like moments of grace and like building of faith in my in my life that stuck with me ever since. So I'd love to be able to walk with people, no matter how they're suffering, how they're grieving, no matter what the event was, no matter how a person passed. But just to be able to bring the hope and hopefully the healing and ultimately joy of the Lord into their lives, and in these moments that everybody has to deal with at some point in their lives. Everybody has to go through the passing of a loved one.